Who is under the purview of the law? Are DPOs mandatory, and what is the grace period for SMEs to comply?
Since the Thai PDPA is heavily influenced by the GDPR, the sort of entities that are under the purview of the law will be both public and private entities that decide the collection and disclosure of the personal data, or what we call in our law is the data controller. So it's very comprehensive. No particular type of organization is spared from complying with the PDPA. But of course, there are some exemptions for the sort of activities that they don't actually need transparency in doing their job, like the police or the national security. For the DPOs, I believe that some of the ASEAN countries, the DPOs are mandatory for business to appoint. But for the Thai PDPA, it's very influenced by the GDPR. So DPOs are mandatory for some entities with regular processing personal data. For example, public agencies, they need to set up DPOs. Both public or private entities that have a regular processing of data, the DPOs are mandatory for them. And we have the supplementary rules that are now the final draft. We actually have the determining factors of what the regular processing of personal data is, so that entities can know whether they are under the criteria to set up DPOs or not. So we use the baseline. For example, in a given year, if there are more than 50,000 records of personal data in your business, that means you have a regular and enough data for the processing, so you must appoint a DPO. We also have specific business activities that the DPO's appointment are mandatory for them. So these business include insurance, banking, credit scoring, advertising, social media, search engines, any business that operate membership card scheme, business that operates public transportation, telecommunications, safety business such as security guards, and of course business that have core business activities on the processing of sensitive data. When it comes to SMEs, the issue that is very important globally is that when you have a small business or medium-sized business, how far do you have to comply with the PDPA? In Thai law, it's very heavily influenced by the GDPR, in that the SMEs are relieved from some of the obligations. For example, the obligations to record the processing activities, because it's quite troublesome to actually maintain the records of processing on all the activities. And the other obligation is the appointment of the DPO. Of course, when you are SMEs, your threshold of data processing is not up to the level required by the law. So you are relieved of the obligations. And we see such a very good example from our fellow ASEAN member states, Singapore, Philippines, and Malaysia, that first year of implementation, the sanctions are going to be more of like a warning based, just to make sure that everyone is in the safe zone, but not too safe, because if there are some serious violation of the privacy, the regulator needs to go after them. But then if there are some minor violation of the data privacy, the regulator is more or less going to lean towards the warning-based sanction rather than imposing a full-on sanctions.
For more data protection resources, visit www.dpaxnetwork.org, the Data Protection Excellence Network, and sign up for free as a member to have full access to all content. Do also like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn if you found this useful.